Hi there, welcome to Crunchy Fingers, where we bring to you things we're interested about and that we love doing and talking about. So today we're gonna do another painting, and this painting this time is going to be a sunset piece because I love sunsets. Actually, I love watching sunsets, looking at sunsets, and also painting sunsets. And I'm gonna take the opportunity of this sunset to talk to you about two basic techniques of watercolors. One is the wet on wet technique, and the other one is wet on dry technique. Wet on wet, it means that you pour the wet paint into the wet canvas, and that will create very soft, very eerie, and very nice gradients. And the other technique is wet on dry. That means the wet paint is always going to be wet to more or less degree, but it's going to have water because that's watercolors are based on, into dry paper. And for that, when you do that, what you actually get is a very hard edges and a lot of definition. So we're going to work with those two techniques. And what we're going to do, it's a sunset on a lake, because lakes is what we have a lot here. And what we're going to do first is to wet the whole thing, because that's what we actually want, to have everything wet so we can do a gradient of what the background is going to be. So it's going to be a nice sky that goes from blue to orangey, red, and it will also going to be the same kind of colors here because that's the area where the lake is going to be and it's reflecting the colors of the sky. So first I'm going to use a very flat brush, goat hair brush, to wet everything. And what we want is to have a very smooth and equal amount of water all through the paper. Not too much, not too little. So generally what I'm looking for is to have a sheen in the paper, not puddles. We try not to get puddles all through the paper. Enough that it's gonna stay wet while we work on it, but not too little that it will, not too much that it will be all over. The paint will actually move over the water. So we want a smooth sheen. If you see that you get puddles, you can always dry the brush and then recover it, or use tissue paper. Okay, this looks good. And now what we're going to do is to pick up some colors. So I'm gonna make a mix for the sky: blue, ultramarine, which is a cool blue, with a bit of maybe bright blue, which is, ultramarine is a warm blue, and then a bit of bright here. And then what we're going to do is to put it at the beginning, like that. That's a lot. It's always going to dry lighter than what you see, but if you see that it's too much color, you can always pick up a bit with the nice, and then you bring it down, and not all the way down, because we want to have a transition to almost white from blue, or intense blue here if we want. Nice smooth gradient to white, and then around here we want to bring it our reddish colors. So first I'm going to bring a cool red that I like here, and maybe mix with a little bit of a warmer tone, like for example a bit of this. Yeah, that looks a bit warmer. And we can bring this one here. And we want again to really make a gradient. So we want to bring it down. Very nice. And the same thing to the upper part. We want a smooth transition to the blue. Very nice. There. we do want the intensity in the middle, so we're gonna bring a little bit more of it. Nice. And always try to smooth out those edges. Remember, it's always going to dry lighter than what you see here. If you see that your sky is maybe a little bit too light, you can always bring up a little bit more on the upper. It's up to you what you want to create. And smooth out. Smooth. For the washes, I really like using this kind of brush that is squirrel, because it holds a lot of water. It's really nice for doing this kind of work. And I'm going to drop a little bit of orangey color, cadmium orange, to the middle of here, so we can get a little bit of this golden sun feeling as well. Smooth out to white. This nice transition. We're taping the paper because it will bulk, it has a lot of water, but also because we want to then reveal how nice the paint is after we're done. You will see it's really cool. Maybe a little bit more here. Down to yeah, and now maybe a little bit more of orange around here. And now we wait until this dries out to continue painting the second layer, which will have mountains and a little bit of the lake still. And we're back. Yeah, it takes some time. I always take the opportunity to either make a cup of coffee or just browse the internet for some more inspiration as my paint dries. You know that your paint is dry, that you can continue working with it when you touch it and it doesn't feel cold to the touch anymore. And if you had a little bit of backline, the backline has kind of settled down. So here we have our lovely background, and what we're gonna do now is to paint the first layer of mountains and a little bit of the reflections on the part that will be the lake. For that, I'm gonna use the technique of wet on dry, because this paper is dry, and now we're gonna get the paint into the paper directly. And I'm gonna use a much finer point brush so I can get the details right. For that, we just go ahead, and the mountains, what I want to do, they're going to be darker than the background, of course, but they're going to be made a little bit on the same colors. So I'm going to make a mix of the blue we had already here and the red. So let's do it like this. It's quite dark. Here we can add a little bit more water, because we're going to make two mountains, and the first one will be a little bit lighter than the second one. So this is it. We're gonna do here, and I want to do it around this area, and this will be the lake. So first we go, and you can do as you wish. The outline could be as you want. I'm gonna do like this. Make it, yeah. Maybe we can start a little bit higher up here. Yeah, nice. So that will be my edge of it. I believe I got a little bit of a yeah, there. And for the lake, a little bit of the same. So we have this, and what I want to do is sun reflection. So it's going to be very light, very light. I want to make maybe a little bit also of darker shadows here, maybe a little bit. Yeah. And now we have our red, dark blue, and I want to do, yeah, so I will do this kind of reflection. That looks very nice. You are taking advantage that your brush is a little bit dry as well, and the dry paper has a little bit of this doesn't have a lot of texture because this is fine grain, but it still has some texture. So if you go very parallel and very light touch, you're gonna get also these textures from the paper itself. That looks nice. A little bit there. And we just wait this to dry a bit to then do the second. I'm gonna make a second one that comes from here down to the same level and darken a little bit more the lake as well. And for that you need this to be completely dry, otherwise it's going to bleed onto the previous layer. So we just wait a little bit and we continue. Now I want to make a darker one that comes over here. So I'm going to again mix the same colors we were working with before, and also with a little bit of darker tone. The idea that of working with the same tones you have worked before is that it's going to be in harmony, the colors you're using, the palette. It's always better to keep to a specific palette. Yeah, so we will do from here down. To here. Normally, if you want to create the illusion of something being farther away, you would make it lighter. So closer things are bigger and darker. Things that are farther away are lighter and smaller. Like this looks good. I also got again a little bit of this. If you get some splashes, you can always take them away with a damp paper. And we're gonna use this same, a little bit more watered down to bring some darker tones now here to the lake as well. Very good. We can evoke a little bit here, some distant trees with the tip of our brush. There. We can bring even more darks here on the bottom because the bottoms generally are darker. Dip some more pigment there and let it dry and blend by itself. Lovely. And then we just need to wait for our painting to dry and reveal how it looks without all the tape. And we just wait for a little while. Yeah, so let's reveal this painting. Of course, if you are short on time or you are a little bit impatient for it to dry naturally, you can take either a hand fan to dry it, or you can use a low hair dryer in a low heat setting. But I do like embracing the fact that watercolor is actually not a very fast medium. You need to wait for things to dry, and that makes you, or at least I think that makes you more in tune with what's happening. It's a little bit of a mindfulness exercise. So now we're ready to see how this painted turned out. This is my favorite part, as I said before. Take it very, very slowly so you don't damage your paper. That's the first one out. It's already looking good. I don't know why this is so satisfying, but it is. Very soft. Nice. I continue. And the last part. Perfect. So here we have our sunset lake little piece ready to frame, for example, or to give to someone. I love giving paintings to people. And yeah, I really like how it turns out. I love this palette of colors, and I hope you do too. Of course, if you like this, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, because there's gonna be a lot of more paintings coming, and also many other interesting things about photography and other things we're interested about. So thank you for watching, and hope to see you back here soon.